Hi and welcome to the video on time zones across the world. By the end of this video, you should be able to find the time difference between two places in the world using a map. So let's take a look at a map. Here we have some numbers at the top of our map and some numbers down below and all the countries in between. Now, dead smack in the center, we have this line with a zero at the top, which we call a longitudinal line. Lines of longitude basically go from the North Pole to the South Pole, and all countries that follow this line generally have the same time. So we might see countries like Spain and Algeria and United Kingdom, they all have the same time. All the other countries around the world are based on these times in these countries. So if I wanted to go to the east and I wanted to work out time, say in Russia or China, Indonesia or Australia, I would need to add time on to whatever it is in those countries. If I wanted to go to the west, I would need to subtract times. Now this longitudinal line has a special name. We call it GMT, which stands for Greenwich Meridian Time. And this is because there is a place in England called Greenwich. So I'm going to refer to it as Greenwich. It's also called UTC, which stands for Universal Time Coordinated, and it's just another name for the same thing. So get used to using those two different names for this longitudinal line. Let's take a look at an example though. Let's pretend it's 4 p.m. in one of those countries. Let's choose Greenwich, and let's say it's 4 p.m. in Greenwich, and we want to know what time it is in China. China is a +8 country, and +8 means that we're going to add 8 hours on to whatever time it is in Greenwich. So when it's 4 p.m. in Greenwich, it's 12 a.m. in China. If I wanted to work out the time in Greenland, Greenland is a -3 country. So I'm going to subtract 3 hours from 4 p.m. to find 1 p.m. So this is how we work out times based on Greenwich. But what if we wanted to know, say, the time from Mexico all the way over to Australia? Mexico is a -6 country. And if I want to go all the way over to Australia, let's say New South Wales. New South Wales is a +10 country. So when it's 9 a.m. in Mexico, I've got to work out what it is in Australia. Mexico is a -6 country. So we're going to work out the time difference between the -6 country and the +10 country. What I'd like to do is work out how much time there is between the starting point and Greenwich, and then add on from there. So to go for Greenwich, what I'm going to need to do is add 6 hours on, because I'm at -6. If I add 6, I'm at 0. This means that at Greenwich, it's 3 p.m. What I can do now is add 10 hours on to the 3 p.m, and that'll tell me what time it is in New South Wales. 10 hours on from 3 p.m. is 1 a.m. When it's 9 a.m. in Mexico, it's actually 1 a.m. the next day in New South Wales. What about China and Greenland? China is a +8 country, as we know, and Greenland is a -3 country. And I want to know, given the time in China, say 4:30 p.m, what time it is in Greenland. Because I'm going to the west, I want to subtract time. So what I like to do is I like to subtract 8, because I know if I start at +8 and I -8, I'm going to get what time it is in Greenwich. So 8 hours before 4:30 p.m. is 8:30 a.m. Now that I'm at Greenwich, all I need to do is subtract 3 hours to work out what it is in Greenland. So 3 hours before 8:30 a.m. is 5:30 a.m. When it's 4:30 p.m. in China, it's 5:30 a.m. in Greenland. So what should you write? Well, your heading time difference is a good idea. You should have that in your books already. You should also have these little notes to remind you about what to do when going east or going west. So pause the video and write them down. And that's it. Hopefully from this video you're able to find the time difference between two places around the world, and also check out some of the other videos on my website that are linked to really cool stories, like especially the one about Samoa. It's really interesting what they've done with their time zone. As always, if you have any questions, ask me in class. I'm happy to help. Good luck.